Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We welcome everyone today, this evening, for our Gita Abhyas session. How many chapters we have learnt already? 16 chapters done. So we are just 2 chapters away from understanding the whole of the Bhagavad Gita. So today we will be learning some part of the 17th chapter, and as an application of whatever we are learning, we will understand how to put that knowledge to use using the example of the Damodara Leela. Okay? So let's begin with the 17th chapter first. We'll read only the first 6 shlokas of the 17th chapter. So you can repeat after me, and then someone can read the translation. So chapter 17, which is called as Shraddha Traya Vibhag Yog. Okay, so Shraddha means the faith, Traya means 3, Vibhag means 3 divisions of faith. So the divisions of faith is the chapter name as per English translation. Text 1, Arjuna Uvacha Ye Shastra Vidimutsrujya
Ye Shastra Vidimutsrujya.
Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha
Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha.
Tesham Nishtha tu ka Krishna
Tesham Nishtha tu ka Krishna.
Sattvam Aho Rajastamaha.
Sattvamaho Rajastamaha.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance?
Text 2, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Trividha Bhavati Shraddha
Trivida Bhavati Shraddha.
Dehi Nam Sa Swabhavaja
Dehinam sa svabhavaja.
Satviki Rajasi Chaiva
Sattviki Rajasi Chaiva.
Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrunu.
Tamasi Cheti Tam Shruno.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's fate can be of 3 kinds: in godness, in passion, or in
Ignorance.
Now hear about this.
Text 3, Sattvanurupa Sarvasya
Sattvanurupa sarvasya.
Shraddha Bhavati Bharata
Shraddha Bhavati Bharata.
Shraddhamayoyam Purusho
Shraddhamayoyam Purusho.
Yo Yat Shraddha Sa Eva Saha.
Yo Yashraddha Sarvasah.
O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired.
Text 4. यजन्ते सात्विका देवान्
यजन्ते सात्विका देवान्
यक्षरक्षांसि राजसः
यक्षरक्षांसि राजसः
प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये
प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये
यजन्ते तामसा जनाः.
यजन्ते तामसा जनाः.
Hare Krishna. Men is in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons. And those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Hare Krishna.
Text 5 and 6. अशास्त्रविहितं घोरं
अशास्त्रविहितं घोरं
तप्यन्ते ये तपो जनाः
तप्यन्ते ये तपो जनाः
दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः
दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः
कामरागबलान्विताः
कामरागबलान्विताः
कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं
कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं
भूतग्रामम् अचेतसः
भूतग्रामम् अचेतसः
मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं
मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं
तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान्.
तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान्.
Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the supreme soul dwelling within, are to be known as the demons.
So before we try to understand these shlokas and try to understand the Bhagavad Gita, yeah, you can move in front. Yeah, Raj. Come. Before we try to understand the Bhagavad Gita, let's seek the blessings of the Guru Parampara. Chaitanya Prabhu. In the meantime, you can bring the garland for me over there. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः.
Now you would have observed this is something we are doing for the first time, right? We didn't do this previously. I think once in the last Damodara Katha we did this thing. But there is a significance to this thing. This is not respect for me in person. Since I am sitting in the Vyas Asana, this is the respect for that asana. Okay? As we all know, this Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, which has been written by Vyasadeva, who is none other than the literary reincarnation or literary incarnation of Bhagavan himself. And since whoever is the speaker, he is reiterating the knowledge that he has explained in the Bhagavad Gita, this is the respect offered to that person. Okay? So thank you very much for that. Normally, in our regular life, we receive such garland only 3 times, right? How many times do we receive? Only 3 times. First time, when do we receive it? At the time of naming ceremony generally, right? So naming ceremony, you would anyways not know that time, you are too small. Okay. And then one, I mean, there are technically, depending upon the cultures you are in, there may be a few more times, but I am saying generally. Okay. Another time is marriage. A lot of people then they question, why did I wear this? Right? And third time, that person doesn't even know that someone has offered a garland to that person, that body, right? But that is the beauty of the our sacred culture, that whoever is taking this Vyasasana, we respect that person with the garland. Is it better? Okay. Now, Bhagwan here is answering the question of Arjun. What is the type of Shraddha of a person who is in different types of modes of nature? And Bhagwan over here, he explained 3 types of Shraddha. What were the 3 types of Shraddha just now Bhagwan explained? Mode of goodness is Satviki, right? Next one, mode of passion, which is Rajasi. And the third one is ignorance. And we have seen the different type of Shraddhas, how different people worship in different modes of nature, right? So in the Satviki, people worship Bhagwan or the Devatas, right? In the mode of passion, they worship the sorry about that. In the mode of passion, uh, they worship the yakshas and rakshasas. Okay, and in the mode of ignorance, they worship the ghosts and spirits. Right. So, what should we aspire for? Goodness, of course, right? So we must aspire for the mode of goodness. So in the mode of goodness, if we are aspiring, what is the best way to learn it? I'll give a hint. Bhagwan had explained this process once in Bhagavad Gita. How to learn? Anybody recollects? Huh? Tad vidhi, somebody said just now. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So we should understand from someone who has understood this whole principle, and we should seek from them. Another important guidance on this matter Bhagavan has also given. Very important thing. This was as far as the knowledge is concerned. I'll give you a hint. That one is about the practical aspect. This one is learning. He has given one guidance about the learning in a practical way. What is that? Anybody recall? No, association of devotees. I'm talking about specific shloka from Bhagavad Gita. not the interpretation by the acharyas or guidance by Prabhupada or anything. I'm talking about direct reference of what yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tadevetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokah tad anuvartate. Whatever is being followed by the acharyas, the senior Vaishnavas, we just simply follow them, right? Most of the things that we know in our life, we have learned from someone, right? And we all know that this learning starts the day we take birth, and immediately our learning starts. All the people around us, our parents, grandparents, uncles, aunties, and everybody, they are teaching us some or the other thing. Either we learn it directly or we learn it indirectly. So directly means they are giving us the knowledge specifically, and indirectly we learn by following them. We see someone doing and we follow that thing, right? So now if we want to learn, with theory we have done a lot of it, right? 16 chapters we finished. 17th chapter is what we are on. So now we are looking for more of applied spirituality, right? How many of you recollect there are two types of sciences we had, right, when we were younger? Similarly for maths, one was called as mathematics, another one was used to be called as applied mathematics. Similarly for sciences, we used to have science and we used to have applied science, right? Everybody remembers the subject? Yeah, sab bhul gaye. No, right? Similarly, there is spirituality and applied spirituality. So the spirituality we learn from the scriptures, as we just now discussed, that tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So we learn from someone who has known it, and the applied spirituality we learn it from those who are able to follow it very, very well, and who can be a better person, different than Yashoda Maya, to learn it from, right? Yashoda Maya, her position is so very exalted that she can discipline Krishna himself, right? So you can imagine how much exalted her position is. Bhagwan is appearing in front of her like a small child, crying for her milk, crying for her love, crying for her association, right? So you can imagine how exalted that position is. And one of the most important aspects of this love is exhibited very, very beautifully and very, very sweetly in the pastime of Damodar Leela. How many of you have heard of the Damodar Leela in the last year? Who all were there? Okay, who do not know the Damodar Leela? Anybody does not know the Damodar Leela? Okay, few of you. Okay, so let's begin with the basics. Damodar. We all know that this is a sandhi of two words, right? What are those two words? Dam and Udar. So, Dam means tying or a rope, and Udar, we all know it's a belly. So, that form of Bhagwan where his belly is tied to a mortar. Bhagwan is tied to a mortar, and I'm sure we all know the background of why Yashoda Maiya had tied Bhagwan? Do we recollect? I'll just very, very lightly touch upon those parts which we had covered. हाँ सांग
Because he
बच्चा.
was stealing the makhan.
Yeah, he was stealing the butter. But on that particular day of this thing, he was doing something more than just stealing the butter. How many of us recollect? Yes.
Cracking of the pots with butter.
Cracking of the pots at his own home. Previously, he was stealing at other homes. But on this particular day, when this Leela happened, by the way, this Leela happened on the Deepavali day itself. Okay. So, I just now mentioned that we should follow in the footsteps of those who are doing this bhakti or those who are doing the seva to Bhagwan very nicely. So that particular pastime is very beautifully explained in Bhagavatam. We'll just quickly read two shlokas of the Leela and then I'll narrate this particular Leela. Okay. The reason I want to recite those shlokas is that whatever Bhagavan mentioned about how to learn, just now we said that we should follow the examples of those who are following, yada yada acharati shreshtas. Whether there is a reference of this thing somewhere else, we should always cross check, right? We are never satisfied with hearing from one source. We would always like to cross check somewhere else. Even in our science experiments and all those things, we were expected to give multiple references. How many of you remember those three dots, timber, 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 and therefore this is the outcome, right? We write the whole theory, we give an example of this thing, and therefore this particular theorem is proven. Now, since we are talking about the science of spirituality, same thing is applicable for there as well. So we should know the theory, we should know the example, and we should know the application. Right? So theory we just now learned that yada yada acharati shreshtas, we should follow in the footsteps. So now what was Mother Yashoda doing, that we will briefly understand. Okay, so this shlokas, they come in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.1.2. So Bhagavatam has 12 khandas. Okay, first out of that 10th khanda or canto, 9th chapter, 1 and 2 shlokas. Okay, on those who wish to recite, you can go to that same link of Veda base, go back to library, there look for Srimad Bhagavatam, and then go to chapter 10, canto 10, chapter 9, shlokas 1 and 2. So Shri Shuka Uvacha Ekada Grihadaseshu Yashodananda Gehini Karmantara Niyuktasu Nirmamantha Swayam Dadhi Yani Yani Hagitani Tadbal Charitani Cha Dadhi Nirmanthane Kale Smaranti Tanyagayata. So Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, once Yashoda, who is the wife or Grihini of Nanda Maharaj, she gave her all maid servants a leave and she herself took upon herself to churn the butter while she was doing this, she was singing the songs about the Bala Leelas of Bhagavan. So that's the translation. So Mother Yashoda, as we can see over here, she was remembering Bhagavan while she was doing her regular day-to-day activities. Right? Now, frankly speaking, for her, she has a special added advantage. What is that? She has the Bhagavan as her own son. So remembering is so easy, right? We do not have that blessing, but nevertheless, Bhagavan reciprocates with each one of us. Bhagavan reciprocates with devotees in so many rasas. What are the rasas we know of? Just like we have so many different kinds of relationships, Bhagavan has so many relationships. Let's go from bottom to the top. First is Shantaras. Shantaras is, okay, there is Bhagavan, I am here, Bhagavan is happy at his home, I am happy at my own home, or slightly better than that. There are yogis who are trying to contemplate on the impersonal Brahman, not much awareness of the Bhagavan, and trying to seek the nirvana, that is Shantaras. Okay, not a very serious awareness of the Bhagavan. Then comes the Dasyaras. In the Dasyaras, one knows that Bhagavan is Bhagavan and we are eternal servants of Bhagavan. Then comes the Sakhyaras. In the Sakhyaras, there is a friendship. So in Sakhyaras, the Gopas, the Gopis, they were peers of Bhagavan. They were friends of Bhagavan. They weren't bothered about whether he is Bhagavan or whatever. They weren't even aware of him being on Bhagavan. So they were just on a friendship platform. There's reference of the Gopa friends climbing on the shoulder of Bhagavan to pluck the mangoes of the trees and eat it together. They would taste the mangoes themselves and give their jhuta mango to Bhagavan. And Bhagavan wouldn't mind. Can we do that? We cannot even think of. Just imagine you taste the mango and then put it on a Naivedya. It's unthinkable for us. But Bhagavan's friends, they have this special mercy. Then comes the Vatsalyaras. Vatsalyaras is that of a parental affection towards Bhagavan. And Bhagavan had the special mercy of having that thing from two parents, two sets of parents. One is those who gave him the birth. Who gave him the birth? Devaki and Vasudeva. Right? They were the original parents, but all his upbringing was done by Yashoda Maiya and Nanda Maharaj. And above the Vatsalya Ras comes the Madhurya Ras, that is where the Radharani is there primarily, and her associates in the form of gopis. That's where they share the Madhurya Ras with Bhagavan. So, not everybody can be in that conjugal relationship with Bhagavan. Right? So, the next highest ras that comes is in the form of the Vatsalya Ras. And Mother Yashoda, she had that privilege, she had that opportunity to shower that kind of love on Bhagavan. And as is mentioned over here in Bhagavatam, she was doing the service to Bhagavan. She was churning the butter. So a little bit background, we all know that Bhagavan, he was very, very naughty when he was young. He liked the butter a lot, and he, more than liking the butter, he liked the stealing of the butter and eating it. Frankly speaking, his father Nanda Maharaj, he had, it is said, 990,000 cows were there in his own house. But he, so you can imagine the amount of butter, ghee, curd, milk, and all those things would be there in his own house. But no, he loved to go to the other Gopa and Gopis' houses, steal the butter from there and eat it. So all the Gopis in the town, they were really very fed up of Krishna's these activities, and they would always complain to Yashoda Maiya that your son is a chore. Just imagine calling Bhagavan a chore, and we glorify it. If our child picks up something, my goodness, if our child picks up something, we would go berserk. How dare you? And here Bhagavan, he is being glorified for doing a act of stealing. That's the beauty of Bhagavan. Whatever he does, it is glorified. So he was stealing from the whole of the town, all the gopis complaining. They complained to Mother Yashoda. What is the simple logic a mother would think of? Why would a child go and steal something at another house and eat?
It's more tastier.
It's more tastier than in her own house. Very simple logic. And she, being a queen of Nandagram, she felt that every day all her maid servants would churn the butter for the family, and they were not doing a very great job. And that is why she took upon herself to this time churn the butter for Krishna. We all know the process for reaching the butter. I think except for the youngsters, we all know what is the process. Boil the milk. Start with boiling the milk, take out the malai, ferment that malai. That fermented malai becomes dahi, curd. When that curd is churned, only that thing gives out butter. So if we just put culture in the full milk, that yogurt, however much you churn, it will not give butter. It may give a little bit of traces, but not the kind of navneet that one expects, right? So it's quite a process. And just imagine, with 990,000 cows being there in Nanda Maharaj's home, how much of this process manufacturing would be there in her house. So at any given point in time, there would be milk boiling, there would be some yogurt made, that yogurt being churned into butter and all that stuff. So it was like a process. So Mother Yashoda also, she had some milk boiling there on the stove, and she was churning the butter herself. While she was doing this thing, Krishna woke up. Krishna, he was about probably a toddler at that time. He woke up and he was looking for his mother, as every child does, right? So he came there and he saw that his mother is very busy with some activity. So he was already very cranky that mother is not paying enough attention to him. So he went to mother, asked her to stop. So one hand he put on the shoulder of Yashoda Maiya, another hand he held that churning ravai. What do we call it in English? that churning rod. Yeah. Yeah. Blender, but manual one which is churned using the rope. A mortar is the Oakley method. This is a churning rod, ravai, Marathi, mathni. Yeah, in Hindi mathni, ravai in Marathi, and a churning rod in the English language, right? So when a child wakes up, he needs two things, he or she. What are those two things? Mummy and milk. These are the two things every child wishes the moment they wake up, right? So Mother Yashoda, being a wonderful mother, she immediately took Krishna on her lap and she started feeding him milk from her own breast. She kept the churning rod and everything aside and started attending to Krishna. Now, Krishna's hunger for mother's milk is unlimited, and so is the supply coming from Yashoda Maya. So this activity is going on for quite a while. And just now we described that there is quite a process of the from milk boiling and all those things, and all of those things happening in parallel. So when Krishna was drinking the milk that was boiling on the stove, it had come to a full boil and it was about to overflow. And it waited for a while to overflow to see if Mother Yashoda comes. Now I am saying it waited for Mother Yashoda to come means that milk also had consciousness. So that in the spiritual world, forget trees and animals and all those things which are animate, which anyway have feelings, which anyway have some life in it. The inanimate things also have consciousness. So this milk also, which was boiling, it waited for a while to see if Mother Yashoda is coming to save it. But then Mother Yashoda was very, very busy in feeding Kanha. So the milk thought that there is no point in me being alive. My life is useless. If my life cannot be of service to Krishna, my life is meaningless. And so the milk thought that let me do a suicide. So, how many of you recollect this dialogue? Suicide. What comes to mind? Surely. That is the kind of conditioning we all have. And just imagine what Bhagwan told us in 8th chapter. What happens to us is defined by what? Our next gati after this life. What is it going to be? How many of you recollect? We have only two persons to rely on. One is Sunil Prabhu and another is Chaitanya Prabhu. Whatever consciousness we have at the time of death will define our next destination. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhav bhavitaha. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavan. Whatever is your consciousness, what is your thought, tyajatyante kalevaram, when we are giving up this kalevara, this body, tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhav bhavitaha. That will be your destination after your death. So, what will be our destination? If we remember after the word suicide, if we remember Viru and Sholay, we will come back here watching movies. Maybe we may have upgraded to acting in movies, but still in this material world. So, how should we purify our consciousness? The next time you hear this word suicide, you should visualize there is milk boiling on the pot which is looking for service of Krishna, and since it is not getting that opportunity, it is feeling that my life is worthless. So an inanimate object like milk can have a consciousness. Fortunately, we have been given such wonderful consciousness by Bhagavan. It's just a matter of training our consciousness. We go from tamas to rajas to sattvic, and from sattvic to transcendental. And when our consciousness reaches, like I mentioned, that every activity of ours, we are reminded of some or the other pastime of Bhagavan, it will increase the chances of our next destination being better than what it is today, and hopefully going back to Godhead. And that is the importance of understanding, contemplating, and hearing the Leelas of Bhagavan. There's one more sloka where Bhagavan emphasizes knowing about his Leelas. How many of you remember? Let me give a hint. 4th chapter. No, it's 18 chapters, Sarvadharman Parikrit. Bhagavan specifically says about his pastimes. How many of you recollect? Anybody? Sunil Prabhu? Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. This is the importance of remembering. And Kaku is taking that effort at this age. Kai vay hai Kaku? At the age of 77, Kaku has taken up upon herself to recite Bhagavad Gita, learn it word by word. किती अध्याय झाले काकू आतापर्यंत?
13 अध्याय झाले, पण मला पाठ नाहीये.
पण शिकून झालेले, right? She is on the path to learning the Bhagavad Gita by heart, 13 chapters done. Alright? So there is no time in our life which is bad to start this thing. And Rishi is appreciating it very much, and Rishi is going to take it up sometime soon. And we already have another very young champ here. Where is Neil Madhav? He has gone to the room. So Neil Madhav, he is son of Chaitanya Prabhu. At the young age of 6 years, he already knows 2 adhyay by heart. And wonderfully recites with very beautiful pronunciations, very good meter. So it's a very great inspiration, and I'm sure rest all of us are between this age bracket, right? Between 6 and 77. Nobody elder than, of course, Kaka is elder to Kaku, but I'm sure he has also taken inspiration, and Kaku would be giving a little bit of that thing to Kaka as well. So none of us has any excuse to to not take to this path. And Bhagwan has guided us. Janma cha karma cha me divyam evan yo veti tattvata. So we should know about janma and karma of Bhagwan tattvataha, not some little bit of hear and say. We all of us would have seen Bhagwan's this photo where he is tied by a rope by Mother Yashoda to a oak leaf. But we hardly take opportunity to go into the detail. There's such beautiful description about this whole pastime in Bhagavatam, the 10th canto. But we get so engrossed in our routine life that we feel that first thing, this is not important. माझं देवा वाचून काहीच अडत नाही. I don't need Bhagwan. As long as I have enough Lakshmi, I am well qualified, I am well to do, I have good relatives, I have a good spouse, I have good children, I have good parents. I don't need Bhagwan. And this is a big danger for all of us who are blessed in some or the other way. We have been here in Singapore for a fair amount of time. We have a little bit of a bank balance, we have decent friends and all those things, but it brings along with it a danger of forgetfulness of Krishna. Forget about the being forgetful. We don't even feel the need. Our first few years were lost in wandering in all the parks, in all the museums and all those things. This whole thing didn't even occur to us. One fine day we happened to see, we used to live in Spottiswoode Park that time. There is a beautiful Muniswaran temple just besides it. Just by chance, we happened to see a program happening over there. A number of devotees were chanting, and incidentally they were doing the Ratha Yatra on that day. So they had a small cart that day. And I was so enthused to see this thing that in Singapore, and most of them were fairly young. And I was so surprised to see all of them to do such wonderful seva for Bhagwan. And that inspired. That hollowness that I was feeling in my heart, I felt in that moment of instance that this is something that will give us fulfillment. Of course, there was a wonderful pious background at home which gave that foundation. But that curiosity, when we bring in ourselves, that is the time Bhagwan blesses us with a source to fulfill that curiosity. About the curiosity also there is a shloka. How many of us recollect what type of people come to Bhagwan? Arto jidnyasuraartharti jnani cha bharatarshava. So the shloka goes, Chaturvidha bhajante mam janaha sukritina arjuna. Arto jidnyasuraartharti jnani cha bharatarshava. So we all of us are blessed over here that we have that curiosity amongst ourselves to know more about Bhagwan. And there is a source available. I am a very small fry in this whole thing. Once we connect to more devotees who are more exalted, more knowledgeable than me, you will relish these things. And I'm sure some of the devotees I have requested to join here, they are enjoying that nectar, and I'm wishing to invite all of you also to come to, I am like a small retail outlet, and there is a whole of a godown and a manufacturing facility of this nectar which is available for all of us to participate in. So I was mentioning about this Leela, that the milk was uh, about to boil and overflow, and realizing that it's Mother Yashoda is not taking care of the milk, they jumped out of the pot. And when it, milk jumps out of a pot, what happens first? Smell of burning, right? And that smell of burning reached Mother Yashoda, and she realized that I need this milk for making good quality butter for my son, and it is very valuable. So momentarily, she, Kana, who was sitting on her lap drinking her breast milk, she kept Kana aside and ran to save the milk. And the milk was very happy that, oh, not all is lost for me. There is some hope that I will be able to serve Kana. The moment a child who is cranky after waking up, if there comes an interruption, what happens to the child? An interruption in the mother's love and also an interruption in the milk flow. What happens? Cranky. The child becomes cranky, starts crying, throwing tantrums. It happens in grades. So first Krishna tried crying, but Mother Yashoda was busy taking all the pots down. So she took a while. So that crying became crankiness. Still she did not come. So he started throwing tantrums. And we know that when someone starts throwing tantrums, what does one do? I'm sure we all of us have experienced. Break something, take and throw, start throwing. So Krishna also, he took the churning rod, and using the churning rod, he hit that very same pot where Mother Yashoda was churning the butter. He felt that this butter is coming in the way of my love of my mother. So this is the villain. So let me take it out of my way. Still Mother Yashoda didn't come. He felt very, very let down. How can my mother not look after me? I'm here. So he felt that this small pot was like a retail store. So there was a whole complete go down in Mother Yashoda's house. So the Kanha, he went to the place in the storeroom where all the butter was stored. So some pots were kept down, some pots were hanging uh, from the ceiling. So Krishna, first he broke a number of pots that were lying on the floor. Then he called his friends, and in his friends there were some Gopa friends, there were some monkeys, and a couple of other animals too who were participating with him. So he made a tower of his friends and climbed on their shoulders, reached out to the pots on the top and started breaking them too. Feeding that butter happily to his friends, to monkeys, and everybody around. And it is said that Bhagavan, he was offering this butter to his monkey friends to pay off the debt he had accrued in his previous lifetime. When was that? In the Treta Yuga, when he was there in the form of Ram. So we all know that all the monkeys, they helped Bhagwan Ram to win the war over Ravan and Lanka. Right? At that time, Bhagavan was in Vanvas. So he could not reciprocate with them with any opulent food. They anyway were eating from the trees and roots and all those things, and that's what they continued even after winning such a huge war. So Bhagavan was very much indebted to his monkey friends. So he promised to them that in a subsequent opportunity he will pay off this debt. None of the monkeys, by the way, came back to Ayodhya. I'm sure if they had come back with Bhagavan Ram to Ayodhya after Ramji's coronation, he would have been able to. But none of them they came back to Ayodhya. They stayed back in Kishkinda on the way. So Bhagavan was indebted to all the monkeys. So you can see Bhagavan's mercy. He does not forget his devotees life after life. He remembered that these monkeys had helped me in Treta Yuga when I came here as Ram, and I owe them something. And he fulfilled their desire by feeding them that butter with his own hands. That is the mercy of Bhagavan. He is so merciful. While this whole thing was happening, Mother Yashoda, she was done with her job of saving the milk, and she came there back and she saw all that mess. आपण मराठीत म्हणतो ना, राडा करून ठेवलेला होता भगवंताने. Bhagwan had made a mess of the house. Every corner was mess. And she got to know who has done it. How would she get to know? Yes, footprints. Bhagwan, after baking all those pots and everything, he walked over all that butter, buttermilk, curd and everything, and he was going around in all over the house. So Mother Yashoda, she saw where these footprints were leading to. So at that point in time, those footprints were leading to the storeroom of the butter, and Krishna was atop a tower of his friends, reaching out to a pot hanging from the ceiling. All of a sudden, the whole environment changed in that room. There was so much of fun, there was so much of joy going around, everybody feeding each other butter happily, the monkeys are squeaking, the friends are shouting, there's a lot of hangama going on. And all of a sudden, when Mother Yashoda came there, there was pin drop silence. Bhagavan was there on the top with his back to the door. So he's not able to see what's happening behind him. But moment he realized that this unusual quiet is there in the room, he realized something is wrong. And there was Mother Yashoda standing there behind with a stick. He climbed down. He climbed down from the tower of his friend's shoulders, and he started pretending as if he was not seeing Mother Yashoda. But then Mother Yashoda, she started wielding the stick that she was carrying in her hand. And Krishna, realizing that Mother is in a very pensive mood, she is very disappointed with Kanha's activities. So she thought of disciplining Kanha by using that stick. And just by thought of this thing, Krishna was terrified. And when the children are terrified, what they do? They cry. So Krishna also started crying. And it is said that the kajal that he had put in his eyes by Mother Yashoda, it started flowing down his cheeks, and all his cheeks became blackish. So Mother Yashoda, she felt that probably her punishment is a bit too much. Krishna is very afraid of this stick, and she lowered the stick and she started to discipline Kana. But Kana was so naughty. The moment he saw that the danger is gone, the stick is gone, he started running around. Mother Yashoda is running behind Krishna. Krishna is running in the front, Mother Yashoda behind. Krishna in the front, Mother Yashoda behind. Krishna in the front, Mother Yashoda behind. All over the house, they went around. And Mother Yashoda just could not get hold of Kana. It is said by Acharyas that Mother Yashoda, she was having all her energy being put in her activity. So her endeavor was there to catch Kanha. But at that time, Bhagwan's mercy, Kanha's mercy was not there with her. So though she was trying to get hold of him, Bhagwan didn't want to get hold. It is said that Mother Yashoda, was a little plump. She comes from a milk opulent family. So there is a lot of opulence of milk, ghee, butter and all those things. So she was plump. She wasn't skinny unlike the fashion nowadays. But since she was heavy and Krishna was running very fast, she could not get hold of Krishna. So ultimately, when this running around was happening, finally Mother Yashoda could get hold of Kana. One more detail I missed in between, that when Krishna was climbing on the tower, at times he was climbing on the shoulders of his friends, and at other times he was using a mortar, which is used for grinding the pulses or grains and all those things. That was also his companion in this whole thing. So when Mother Yashoda got hold of Kanha, she thought that Kanha, if he is let loose, he will not allow her to do any work. He will keep on creating mess. So best thing I do is I tie Kanha in one place. And I just now mentioned that this whole thing happened on the day of Deepavali. And Deepavali, every grihini, every mother, she has a lot of work to do in the house. So she also thought that for some quiet time, she needs to tie Kanha, and she better to tie Kanha so that she can do her work. So she thought the best thing to tie him to would be the oakley, because it's usually very heavy, right? And second thing is that it was party to the sin of stealing. Krishna was climbing on that oakley and reaching out to the pots. So the best would be that two partners in the sin are tied together so that she has some quiet time. So now we all know that in the family of milkmen, there would be several cows and there would be several ropes to tie this cow. So she grabbed one rope and she was trying to tie Krishna. When she was trying to tie Krishna, that rope was short and just 2 fingers short. So she initially thought that just one rope would be enough. How much would be a toddler's waist? Just about 1 feet, barely the circumference. So she picked up one rope and tried to tie Kanha, 2 fingers short. Then she got few more ropes, still 2 fingers short. She got the whole of her house, whatever rope was there, and tried to tie Kana, still 2 fingers short. Then she appealed to her friends, Gopi friends, that you please bring the rope at your home. I want to tie Kana. And all the gopis, they were so happy. They were exhilarating with joy. Finally, the chap who is creating so much nuisance at our homes, he is getting punished for his deeds. And they were happily bringing, yeah, please take this rope from our home also, but please tie your naughty son. He gives us lots of trouble. So all the rope in Nandagram in Gokul came, and Mother Yashoda is trying to tie, but she is just unable to tie. And Acharyas explain that again her endeavor to tie Krishna was there, but Krishna's willingness, Krishna's mercy to get tied wasn't there. So for any endeavor, we need 2 things. One is, any success in any endeavor, it needs 2 things. One is our endeavor, and second thing is Krishna's mercy. So at that time, it was missing. But looking at the effort that Mother Yashoda was putting in, Kana felt a little pity on her that my mother is taking so much of effort to bind me. So he allowed her to be bound. And finally, it is said that Radharani also came to that place. She offered her ribbon to Mother Yashoda to tie Bhagavan. So this rope which combined the 2 rasas of Vatsalya and Madhurya put together could tie Bhagavan. But we all know Bhagavan. He is all powerful. He is playing a Leela with his mother, right? She feels that Oakley is very strong, but she, poor lady, doesn't know that Bhagavan is carrying this whole of all these universes on him. So he started crawling with that Oakley. And while doing this thing, there were 2 very tall Yamal Arjun trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. It is said that these 2 trees were Nalakuver and Manigreva. They were the sons of Kuber, and in their previous part of the life, they were enjoying in near Kailas. There is a very beautiful pond. In that sacred waters, Nalakumer and Manigreva, they were enjoying with their girlfriends, totally naked. And Kailas, being just besides it, being a very holy place, it would have a to and fro of lot of exalted devotees. And Nalakuver and Manigriv totally oblivious to this, all those things. They were busy with their enjoyment, totally oblivious of what's happening. So at that time, Narad Muni was passing by. They didn't even notice Narad Muni. They were totally intoxicated by 2 things. One is some intoxicant they had drunk, and there was one more intoxication. What was that? What could it be? Being Kuber's children? Intoxication of his father's opulence, their pride. They didn't even bother to take notice of Narad Muni. The rest of the girlfriends who were accompanying them, they at least had some shame. When they saw Narad Muni coming, they ran to take their clothes, they covered themselves. So Narad Muni was very disappointed, and he felt that Nalakuver and Manigriva, they need to be disciplined. They need to be put some sense. Kuber is such a high position. Kuber, he is the uh, treasurer of Bhagwan's all treasuries, and their son, their children, two sons, are behaving in this kind of a manner which is not at all worthy of that family. So he thought of disciplining them. So he cursed them. Curse is a very crude word. It doesn't carry that feeling. He gave a Bacha, can you pass that glass to me? That glass. Thank you. Sharp is the correct word. In sharp, there is some punishment given, but that punishment is for reform. Curse is just to doom. That English word doesn't carry that thing. It's okay, bro. So Narad Muni gave a shrap to Nalakuver and Manigriva that you are behaving like trees. Trees, we have never seen wearing them clothes, right? Trees, animals, they don't wear clothes. It's perfectly normal if they are naked, not wearing anything. So Narad Muni cursed them that you will become trees. So that is the point in time when these Kuvera's sons came to senses what sort of aparad, what sort of mistake they had done. And they were begging for forgiveness. But now the sharp was already given. So it cannot be taken back. But seeing the true repentance from Nalakuver and Manigriva, Narad Muni became merciful. So he gave them a ushap that you will become trees. There is no turning back on that. But you will become trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and Bhagavan himself will relieve you out of this yoni. So those two trees, for several yugas, they were standing tall in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and Bhagavan happened to pass between those trees with that oak leaf tied to his back. So Bhagavan, being a small child, he passed through that gap, but the oak leaf is a little longer. It got stuck between those two trees. Now, how much force would be needed to uproot a tree? A tree that is standing tall for ages. Just a rough estimate, a few thousand tons of force would be needed. But it is said that Bhagavan just crawled through it. He momentarily felt that there is some obstruction, and he stepped one step is not the right word because he was crawling. You use the word step when someone is walking. So Krishna crawled one more step and a little bit of a jerk, and those two trees, they fell down with a huge sound. And Nalakuver and Manigriva appeared from these two trees. They were effulgent. Their whatever effulgence they had lost due to the shrap of Narad Muni, they gained it back, and they started glorifying Bhagwan, his glories, and they went back to their dham. So this is such a beautiful pastime of Bhagavan that he had done in the form of a small child, in the form of Damodar. If you do not recollect how you have seen him in pictures, I'm sure you will recollect the moment we offer a diya, we do a deepdan to Damodar Bhagwan today. Right now is the Kartik Mass as per the spiritual calendar. In Marathi calendar, Kartik Mars starts from Diwali and onwards. The next day, following day. So the Pratipada, and that day the Kartik Mass starts. But in the Bhagavad calendar, the calendar starts 15 days earlier. So it has already started on 7th of October. So we are celebrating this Kartik Mass for 1 month, wherein we are trying to offer as many ghee lamps to Bhagwan. And the glories of offering Deepdan to Bhagwan, it is mentioned that when you do 1000 Ashwamedh Yajnas, whatever piety you will earn, whatever spiritual credits you will earn, that much pious credits, that much Bhagwan's mercy you get by just offering one ghee lamp in front of Bhagwan in the Kartik Mass. So it's like a spiritual sale. In sale, what happens? For a small thing we offer, we get a larger benefit, right? Similarly, here in this Kartik Mass, we also offer a very small thing. Now, that small thing, in terms of material perspective, is very small. But what is Bhagwan expecting from us? Bhagwan is expecting love from us. It is said Bhagwan is a bhavagrahi Janardhan. So he is looking for our bhav. What is the bhav with which we are offering that ghee lamp? So we don't expect anything in return. Bhagwan has given each one of us enough for some of us even to retire, but still we continue to endeavor, but just that we channelize our endeavor from enhancing our material life to enhancing our spiritual life, to start engaging in the service of Krishna. And in the last our session, we were discussing about what is the progression path. We are nearing towards the end of reading of our Bhagavad Gita. We are already on 17th chapter. So there is a lot of service to do. All of you are welcome to come to the Rasakesari temple every Saturday. Every Sunday evening, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., where we carry out the seva to Bhagavan. There are several sevas. You can cook for Bhagavan, you can do the decoration from Bhagavan, you can sing for Bhagavan. Whatever you wish to do, whatever is in your heart, you can do for Bhagavan. So with that, we will end the pastime narration of Damodar Leela today. If there's a question or two, we could take.